Let's speak about GIS, Geographic Information System, and spatial data. Which data could be called spatial? For example, here, you could see the regular Excel table with a list of American universities. I just downloaded it from the website of American Ministry of Education. And this is just a regular data sets. You could find millions of such data sets in the web, or you could create it by yourself. But there's one thing which makes this data set spatial. So it could be related with the particular positions of the surface of our planet. So there are two columns here called lat and long, and they contain the geographic coordinates for every university, every line in the table. The line in data science is called record, and the column is called field. So for every line, we have two values of geographic coordinates, which could help us locate every university in the map. And we could use our Google Maps, which we already know, to just show these locations in the map. How we could do it? Again, we could use this Google My Maps tool. So in Google, in your places, you could tap the map tab, and then you could create a new map to locate them, for example. And here, when you will see the new map opened in new tab in your browser, you also will see here in the left panel, in the untitled map and untitled layer, you could see import. If you will click it, you will see the window where you could just open your file, including also just Excel file. Let us just go and find the Excel file with that list of universities. You can just open it. And then Google will ask you where your coordinates, your geographic coordinates are recorded. So you will see the list of all the columns, or how we call it, all fields of our database, of our tables. And you could see that two of them have already recognized by Google Maps as columns or fields containing the geographic coordinates. If it is correct, you could just click continue. And then you could just have to choose the name for labeling the object. Let it be the name of the university. And then finish. And after taking some time for processing, it will show you all the universities in the Google Maps. Let's wait a little bit, because the United States has many universities. So now you can see that all of them are located here. So you could also, if you would like, you could change the shape of your mark on the map. It could be a little bit, for example, yellow, or you could choose some, not just a regular shape, but something more looking like the university. For example, book. Let it be. Now you could see the location of every American university, at least according to the American Ministry of Education, in the map. So you could zoom in and click some university. Then you will see all the information about that university from the table you have. For example, here, if you will come back to a Google to Excel table, you could see for every university a certain information is recorded, including the names, the location, the state, and other data recorded here. And so all this information is uploaded together with the location of the university. So actually you could see also the table. If you could click here and open data table, you will see the same table as you uploaded. But what's important, that every line, every record, how we called it, in this table, is related with a particular geographic location. As we click, it will also be located to a particular university in the map. See, we click a line in the table, and you are located to a particular university. And also vice versa, as you click to any location, you will see, you find this university in the table, this line in the table. That's a very important feature of every geographic information system. The relationship between the object in the map, in this particular case, this is a point in the map, and the information in the database. So in this particular case, it is called, this data table usually is called in GIS the attribute table, a table of attributes of a spatial objects in the map. And as we already know, not only points could be objects, but also you could remember that last time you could draw your own line or contours for polygons. For example, this is our map we created last time. You could also open it in Google My Maps, and you could see the lake in Maryland in the US. And also, if you would like, you could add your universities here. For that, you have to click with Add Layer. And then again, you will see this import, and you will have the possibility to import these Excel tables, all this data from the Excel tables to a map. I will just repeat the same steps. And you will soon see all our universities also placed here to your map. So in the same map, you will have a combined data from external source, from the Ministry of Education, and the contour of a lake you created by yourself. Of course, you created contour of a very local level. Let us also change the shape of style of marks. And also you could zoom to your lake But at the same time, you will see in the same area, you will also see a lake and also see the universities which are located around. The nearest one is, of course, the Maryland University is located close to the lake draw. And here we could also learn about very important feature of the geographic information system, the layer. You could see that here in your map, you have two different types of objects. The lake you draw and the universities, locations of American universities, you just import it to that map. And they are located one over another as a layer in a pie, for example, or sediments. You could manipulate them separately. You could switch on and off your lake. And you could switch on and off the university's data. So you could make them visible or invisible. You could also change the style for your object or for all the universities. You could, of course, rename. For example, here you could double click and change the name. By default, it's the name of your Excel table. Right here, you could just type American universities. And here you could click, for example, my favorite works. So we have two data sets separated by somehow separated by two groups into two groups called layers, and you could manipulate this layer separately in the geographic information system. And so actually at the example of this Google My Maps, you could see the good example of pretty simple online geographic information system with all the key elements of any geographic information system. You could see the main window with the map. You could see the left panel, which is usually called the layers panel, because here you could manipulate with your data. You could combine them in a groups called layers and manipulate them separately. And you also could see the tools for changing your map, for editing to creating, adding objects, drawing lines or contours or single marks like the points, like with universities. And actually every data set, every layer is also the objects in every layer are related with the information database, usually in the form of a table called attribute table. And also the lake you created also has a table. You could just go here and open data table. But this data table for your lake is much more simple. It only contains the name and the description. By the way, you also could edit it. Of course, you could change the name of the lake and you could make the description, but there are only two columns, two fields. And in the layer with American universities, we have much more data in your data tables and attribute tables. You could see many of them. So this is why we could call Google My Maps the real geographic information system. Simple, but powerful enough to manipulate different data sets, to combine them together, to edit them. And this is a good example of what we called geographic information system. And geographic information system could manipulate with different sets of spatial data, spatial data sets. In our case, there are two different data sets. And each data set, if it is spatial, it contains the objects in the map, points or lines or contours, and the information attached to every object in the map. And this is if these conditions are at place, so we could call it geographic information system.